Hey there and welcome to Gossip Gaze. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of celebrity mothers and their daughters. Let's get started. Lea Thompson and Zoe Dutch at 25. At 25, Lea Thompson was thriving in Hollywood, starring in hit films like Back to the Future and Howard the Duck. The following year, she met her future husband, director Howard Dutch, while working on Some Kind of Wonderful. Their daughter, Zoe Dutch, has followed in her footsteps, landing major roles in Netflix's Set It Up and Ryan Murphy's series The Politician. Beyoncé and Blue Ivy Carter around 10. At just 10 years old, Beyoncé was already performing as part of Girls' Time, the group that would later evolve into Destiny's Child. By the same age, her daughter Blue Ivy had already made a name for herself, starring in campaigns for her mother's Ivy Park clothing line, dancing backup at the 2022 Academy Awards, and even winning a Grammy for her writing credit on Brown Skin Girl. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Karis Douglas in their late teens. Catherine Zeta-Jones didn't achieve mainstream success or win her Oscar until later in her career. However, her daughter Karis, with actor Michael Douglas, found success early as a model. By her late teens, she had already starred in a Fendi campaign and graced the cover of Vanity Fair Spain's September 2019 issue. Natalie Wood and Natasha Gregson Wagner at 32. By the 1970s, Natalie Wood had already reached the peak of her career, earning 3 Oscar nominations and starring in the iconic musical West Side Story. At 32, she embraced motherhood, welcoming her daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner. By that same age, Natasha had built her own acting career, appearing in films such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer and High Fidelity. Madonna and Lourdes Leon at 22. At 22, Madonna was on the brink of superstardom as a singer. Meanwhile, her daughter with Carlos Leon, Lourdes Leon, has been immersed in the world of Hollywood's elite from an early age. She spent 4 years at the University of Michigan before making waves in the fashion industry, earning her status as an it girl with her first major campaign for Miu Miu. Kyra Sedgwick and Sosie Bacon at 26. By 26, Kyra Sedgwick had already made a name for herself in Hollywood and been married to Kevin Bacon for several years. Meanwhile, their daughter, Sosie Bacon, gained recognition with her role in 13 Reasons Why, paving the way to follow in her parents' footsteps. Courtney Love and Frances Bean Cobain at 17. At 17, Courtney Love was just beginning her journey in music, chasing fame and building her career. Meanwhile, her daughter with the late Kurt Cobain, Frances Bean Cobain, has been in the spotlight since the day she was born. Vanessa Paradis and Lily Rose Depp at 19. By 19, Vanessa Paradis had already made a name for herself as a French musician, actress, and model, having risen to fame at just 14 with her hit song Joe La Taxi. Similarly, her daughter with Johnny Depp, Lily Rose Depp, began her career early, landing her first film role in Tusk at 15. Today, she has established herself as both a successful model and actress. Carrie Fisher and Billie Lourd at 26. By 26, Carrie Fisher had already cemented her place in cinematic history, starring as Princess Leia in 2 Star Wars films. Her daughter, Billie Lourd, followed in her footsteps, making a name for herself with roles in the TV series Scream Queens and multiple Star Wars installments as Lieutenant Connix. Lisa Bonet and Zoe Kravitz at 27. Lisa Bonet rose to fame as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show, while her high-profile relationship with Lenny Kravitz kept her in the spotlight. Their daughter, Zoe Kravitz, worked hard to establish herself as a serious actress, eventually starring in Hulu's High Fidelity, a fitting nod to her mother, who appeared in the original 2000 film of the same name. Melanie Griffith and Dakota Johnson at 26. Melanie Griffith began her career early, modeling at just 9 months old and making her film debut as Deli Grassner in Night Moves at 19. Her daughter with Dawn Johnson, Dakota Johnson, followed in her footsteps, rising to fame as Anastasia Steele in the 50 Shades of Grey franchise. Demi Moore and Rumor Willis at 27. By 27, Demi Moore had already made a name for herself with notable roles, including Debbie in About Last Night and Jules in St. Elmo's Fire. Her eldest daughter with Bruce Willis, Rumor Willis, has followed in her parents' footsteps, amassing 31 acting credits by the same age. Reese Witherspoon and Ava Phillippe at 18. By 18, Reese Witherspoon was already working as an actress, though her most iconic roles were still ahead of her. Meanwhile, her daughter Ava Phillippe marked 18 by graduating high school and stepping into the modeling world. One of her biggest early breaks came when she starred in Road Art's Fall 2018 collection lookbook. Kathy Hilton and Paris Hilton at 26. By 26, Kathy Hilton was married and a mother to 2 daughters, Paris and Nikki. At the same age, Paris was a constant presence in the tabloids, solidifying her status as a pop culture icon. Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson at 30. By the time Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson reached 30, they had built remarkably similar careers, both becoming beloved for their charismatic performances in romantic comedies. Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis at 23. By 23, Janet Leigh had signed with MGM Studios and was starring in films like Little Women and The Romance of Rosie Ridge. After marrying fellow actor Tony Curtis, she welcomed their daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis, who followed in her footsteps, becoming a household name at just 20 with her breakout role in Halloween. Linda McCartney and Stella McCartney at 26. At 26, Linda Eastman entered the whirlwind of Beatlemania when she married Paul McCartney. Their daughter, Stella McCartney, pursued a career in fashion, launching her own collection in 1995 and earning an Elle Style Award for Best New Designer by the time she was 26. Priscilla Presley and Lisa Marie Presley at 22. Priscilla Presley was just 22 when she married the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Following in her mother's footsteps, Lisa Marie Presley also married young, tying the knot with Danny Keough at 20, though their marriage was short-lived. Jada Pinkett Smith and Willow Smith at 19. At 19, Jada Pinkett Smith was an up-and-coming actress, gaining experience through television movies before landing a role on A Different World. Meanwhile, her daughter with Will Smith, Willow Smith, has already built a successful music career, made her mark in the fashion world, and co-hosts Red Table Talk alongside her mother and grandmother. Kate Moss and Lila Grace Hack at 18. Lila Grace Hack exuded confidence as she walked the Fendi runway in 2021, a talent that runs in the family as she is the only daughter of supermodel Kate Moss. Both mother and daughter made their mark in the fashion world by walking during Fashion Week at just 18 years old. Kris Jenner and Kourtney Kardashian at 35. Of all the Kardashian sisters, Kourtney Kardashian bears the strongest resemblance to their matriarch Kris Jenner, and their lives share striking similarities. At 32, Kris had just welcomed her youngest child, Rob Kardashian. Just a few years later, at 35, Kourtney gave birth to her third child, Rain Aston Disick. Uma Thurman and Maya Hawke at 22. At 22 years old, Uma Thurman was known for both her high-profile marriage to Gary Oldham and her rising star power, thanks to films like 1992's Final Analysis. At the same age, her daughter also became an actress, appearing in films like Once Upon a Time, in Hollywood, and shows like Stranger Things. So, there you have it. These celebrity mothers and their daughters are proof that talent, dedication, and passion can indeed be passed down through generations. It's inspiring to see how each daughter is making her own mark while honoring her mother's legacy. Write in the comments what you would like to see on my next videos. Thanks for joining on this journey through some remarkable family stories. XOXO.